This is where your invasion ends. Even though your own world is a miserable, shameful mess, you won't bring your 2 hours to craziness. Something strange is occurring in both the Marvel and DC universes, which is why Superman recently faced the Avengers, and one of the largest battles in comic book history is about to break out. As you can see, the Justice League was battling an odd creature that appeared out of thin air. They attempted to destroy it, but the beast threw Superman back as he charged in and used brute force to try to defeat it. Batman instructed his squad to keep the beast busy in an attempt to outwit it. Flash from the right, Plastic Guy from the left, and Aquaman attacks from the left. And they succeeded in defeating it because of Batman's plan. However, as the Justice League had expected, the Spectre then materializes and clarifies that the opponent is not from their realm. He informs them that, for whatever reason, a wide range of evildoers and monsters are entering their world. We see a similar situation in the Marvel Universe. A bizarre creature from another reality appeared 20 minutes ago. Similar to the Justice League, the Avengers used Scarlet Witch's magic, Quicksilver's speed, and Tony's intelligence to defeat the menace. However, during the altercation, they learned some horrifying information. The multiverse is experiencing an odd phenomenon. Similar to the DC world, waves of invaders are invading civilizations, and they all seem to be showing up out of nowhere. The Justice League returns to the JLA Watchtower and starts looking for explanations for what's happening. In fact, Flash uses his abilities to enter the Marvel Universe first. At that point, however, he sees a mutant being pursued by a vengeful crowd. You see, it's critical to understand that the Marvel Universe treats superheroes and mutants much worse than the DC Universe does. Flash tries to quiet the mob by telling them to relax, even if the child did something wrong, but instead, the crowd yells and calls Flash another of Magneto's terrible mutants. He aids the rebel in getting away. However, he stumbles while running and discovers that he struggles to use his abilities in the Marvel reality. At that moment, they spot the Watcher, a cosmic entity that continuously keeps an eye on significant events. A little later, the Grand Master emerges as another figure. The boundaries between the Marvel and DC universes have loosened. He says after Wonder Woman applies the lasso of truth to him. Finding 12 strong artifacts is the only way to keep both universes from ending. There are 6 from the DC and Marvel universes that could assist in averting the looming disaster. Only when these things are together can the threat be eliminated. If they are not, the cosmos perishes. He informs them that these goods would also be sought after by heroes from the Marvel Universe. After warning them to exercise caution, he vanishes. The Justice League is left perplexed and uncertain about whether they can believe the Grand Master is speaking the truth. However, Batman recommends that they look into his accusations at the very least. Thus, Flash takes a group of people to the Marvel Universe utilizing the Speed Force. They initially arrive in Latveria, where they see Dr. Doom imposing his will with an iron fist. Batman merely offers that they observe and walk on when Aquaman suggests that they should step in due to Doom's rule. In Genosha, where mutants were recently bombarded, the same thing occurs. They observe the aftermath of a Hulk rampage in Michigan and the cold-blooded execution of criminals by the Punisher in New York. The heroes are in a state of shock as they keep watching, unable to comprehend what they are witnessing. This world is rich, this planet. It is living. According to what we've learned, there are heroes here as well. How are they able to permit this? How are they going to tolerate it? Do they not give a damn? In the meantime, a shadowy character known as Metrom informs the Avengers about the 12 potent relics. In a similar vein, the Grandmaster Meltron cautions them that their universe would end unless they get all 12 objects before the Justice League does. The two teams then start competing to claim the relics. The Avengers were able to enter the DC realm, much like the Justice League. However, the Avengers' experience is very different from the animosity the Justice League encountered in the Marvel realm. People begin requesting photos and autographs as soon as they arrive, believing they are members of the same team as the DC superheroes. The adoration and awe that the heroes in this universe receive is, to put it mildly, shocking to them. A super speedster is the subject of a museum. A museum. These people glorify their heroes in these publications and advertisements. Indeed, not as frequently back home, is it? However, just as Superman had a negative opinion of the Avengers in the Marvel reality, Captain America too has a negative opinion of Superman and his group. Fairness, this is not fair. Examine your surroundings. Their city is this one. Men did not build it. They must rule this globe like miniature tin gods, demanding worship from the populace rather than defending its independence. However, the Avengers glance up as the captain is about to conclude his remarks and CDC's heroes standing in front of them, prepared to take them on. This is where your invasion ends. Superman assures them that allowing them to go free would jeopardize the safety of the city and declares that they will all be placed under arrest. In response, the captain accuses Superman of being a fascist overlord and calls the demand absurd. Thor strikes Superman with his hammer after Wanda tactfully advises Cap that they should at least attempt to resolve the conflict amicably. A large altercation starts. We watch as Aquaman strikes Iron Man. Quicksilver spins Plastic Man around. Superman strikes Thor, and Hawkeye tries to shoot the FLS, but is knocked down. However, they are facing one another as the conflict rages. They are cautious, resolute, and experienced. Their eyes meet, they both inhale, and initially, their blows land with hardly any force. A counter, a shift, a response, a tap, a brush, a cess, a feint, and a reaction. Okay, Avenger, it's possible that you could defeat me, but it would take a very long time. But do tell me this. Would you like to? No, you are not the adversary. All of us are merely pawns in a bigger game. Batman and Captain America are aware that someone is obviously trying to incite conflict between the two squads by tugging strings. Thus, they decide to unite and depart from the battlefield. We witness Wanda attempting to use her chaos magic as they disappear. Then, however, something occurs. Everyone is sent flying from the battlefield by Wanda's enormous power surge. The force of it astounds Plastic Man and Wonder Woman. Wanda responds that the chaos magic on this planet is obviously far greater than she had anticipated when Quicksilver hurries over to inquire about what had transpired. Wanda merely raises her palm and teleports her crew to a new place as Superman and Flash attempt to pursue Iron Man and Thor. Then, as both teams compete to gather the 12 relics, a protracted and bloody adventure starts. As Batman and Captain America attempt to ascertain the true situation, we witness scenes like Iron Man outwitting his adversaries, Wonder Woman facing Hercules, and Quicksilver racing the Flash. In the Savage Land, the teams even engage in combat once again as they vie for control of the last artifact before the conflict erupts once more. Nevertheless, Superman is so enraged this time that he defeats Thor. Superman acknowledges that he has never fought a more formidable foe as Thor lies vanquished. Batman and Captain America return after collecting all the treasures. At that point, the truth comes to light. Together with the Grandmaster, Krona, a cosmic entity, is the mastermind behind it all. Krona is preoccupied with discovering the mysteries of the cosmos and the beginnings of life. You see, Krona destroyed entire universes in pursuit of answers because of his obsession. The Grandmaster suggested a cosmic game to deter him. Each picked a group of heroes. The Grandmaster picked the Justice League. Krona picked the Avengers, and the winner was the team that collected the most artifacts. However, the Justice League won 7-5 after Batman and Captain America realized what was actually happening, and the captain passed the last item to Batman using his shield. The match is over. The Justice League has a 7-5 advantage. Krona, your selected champions lost. You must thus go and stop threatening this continuum. Yes, I will. Will? No. I'll get the answers I want. I'll be aware of the reality. I'll be aware of it. The Justice League and the Avengers realized they needed to work together to fight Krona and save their respective universes after he chose to cheat. The teams became closer as a result of their collaboration, even going to parties together. Even though there was still some friction between them, they eventually learned to trust each other after numerous conflicts. Additionally, we saw Superman carrying Captain America's shield while wielding Thor's hammer. As he got into danger, the power never felt so, my lord. However, we learned after the fight that Superman, despite his strength, is not always able to raise the hammer, just like everyone else. The hammer spell was designed to be lifted only by a select group of deserving people in dire circumstances. Thus, the teams returned to their respective universes after working together to defeat Krona. In the last panel, Superman and Captain America greet one another and say how happy they are to have met, while Wanda muses that despite the fact that their worlds are so dissimilar, they were still able to put aside their differences and cooperate to save the world.